So I'll begin with the prayers. I'm just sharing my screen. So I can see here Slok, Uddhav, Rahul, Hemlata, Manasvi, and Avni. So welcome all of you. So let us begin with the class today. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes. So in the previous class, we discussed about, many times people don't want to, mostly students like you, those who learn science, they actually lose faith in Vedas, they lose faith in religion because they see there are so many blind practices. You see people, this lady is walking on fire, and this Baba is giving some mantra to pass in the exams, and you see here are some, some strange kind of practices being done, like they're piercing some sharp thing into the tongue. So all different kind of practices which come in the name of religion, and people think, oh, is this really religion? Then it is completely, blind faith, and that is true also, right? So blind faith is undesirable, while faith is essential at every step of life, right? So what is blind faith? Blind faith means, you can see here in this picture, these people are blindfolded, and they are just, going in some way. They don't know themselves. So blind faith is undesirable. Blind faith is not sensible. It does not make sense, and you cannot verify the results, right? Like suppose if I give you a mantra by which you can pass in the exam, no one can verify is it true or false, right? It is simply a perception. Yes, I passed. I got a job. So what is real faith, or faith which is required? So this is the sensible and verifiable faith, which is required in every step of life, isn't it? Just like suppose, I'll give some examples. You go to a doctor. So there are so many doctors you can consult, but you go to a particular doctor and you put faith that if you get treatment from him or her, then you will get cured of the disease. Isn't it a faith, right? Because you don't exactly know that whether you will get cured or not. But such faith is not blind faith, because before going to the doctor, you check, right? Is this doctor a bona fide doctor? Has he learned his, surgery or whatever science he has learned? Has he learned from a proper college? Has he got the MBBS degree, right? So you check all the credentials so that it does not become a blind faith. Like suppose you go to any person in the street and ask him, can you please do a surgery for me? Then it would become a blind faith, right? But if you go to a doctor who is having some MBBS degrees practicing, then it is not blind faith, isn't it? So first thing in the sensible faith is that it should be sensible. It should make sense. Another way, like suppose the doctor gives you, you are having some stomach pain, and the doctor tells that I'll cut your leg and then you'll get cured of the disease. How many of you will take that advice seriously? No, because you say what nonsense it is, isn't it? I have got a stomach ache. Why you are cutting my leg? Right? So then you'll reject such a doctor, isn't it? But if the doctor says that you have got a stomach ache because of acidity, and then I'll give you some medicine which will cure you of acidity, then you say yes, it makes sense. So first aspect of intelligent faith or sensible faith is sensibility. It makes sense. And second, it is verifiable. Like suppose he gives you some medicine and you eat it, and you get cured of the disease. So does that makes a sense? Yes, you gave a medicine and it works. So it is verifiable also, right? So these are the aspects of real faith, essential faith. It is essential. Without this, you cannot move in life, right? If you don't consult a doctor, I don't put belief in any doctor, right? Then you may die also of the disease. So this kind of faith is essential, not only essential, but important. And it is verifiable and sensible, right? So how many of you understood about this first point? How faith can be blind and how faith can be uh, real faith. Real faith and blind faith, how many of you understood the difference? Okay. Uddhav raised hand, Manasvi raised hand, and Avni, you understood? Rahul, Slok raised hand. If you have any question, you can ask also, so that I can explain you and then move on to the next part. Right? Rahul, could you get it properly, Devana?
I understood, sir.
What?
I understood, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I understood,
So,
sir.
okay, yeah, thank you. So, yes. So let us move ahead. Now, the question next, which we want to talk today is, can faith in religion also be intelligent? Can it be sensible? And can it be verifiable? Right? Because many times, just like you're, at home also, many times you see so many things which you don't know, it does not make sense. Like suppose sometimes your some elder may say that, why we offer this incense to the deity, or why do we offer water to the deity? So it does not make sense why they are worshipping the stone, isn't it? How many of you get this question? How many of you get this question? Why they are worshipping a picture? Why they are worshipping the stone? Isn't it? So it makes some kind of no sense, isn't it? So it is very obvious for all of you to think like that, right? So can we also ask questions in religion? Can we verify the results? So the answer is yes. So let us try to understand how religion can also be scientific. Okay. So first I'll talk with the most scientific book on religion, the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita was directly spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, right? So you'll find in Bhagavad Gita, if you go to 18th chapter, 63rd verse, Krishna tells, Vimarsayat asesena yathechasi tatha kuru. Here you can see this verse, which means the meaning I'll tell you. The meaning of this is that I have told you everything about the science of God and everything. Now you think about it deeply, give a thought, and then decide what to do, right? So Krishna is not calling that, I am God. I am God, and whatever I am calling you, you just follow me, right? Krishna is not telling like that. It is Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter 63rd verse. If someone has book, they can refer to also. So that means Krishna, even though he's God, is not saying that, just follow me because I am God. He's saying, think about it, think deeply, and then decide for yourself. So that means it is not calling for blind faith, right? And not only that, Bhagavad Gita is a question and answer book. How many of you know? Arjuna would ask questions and Krishna would give answers, right? So it is not like Krishna giving simply information which you have to accept. Arjuna is asking questions, many questions, and then Krishna is getting inspiration to speak more and more elaborately, right? So first aspect of faith is it should be sensible, right? So that means if this gives that, yes, Bhagavad Gita is sensible. Now, how is it verifiable? Can we also verify what Lord Krishna tells? Yes. So if you go to Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, second verse, there a verse comes, Pratyaksh avagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. That means it is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means something which is evident, right? Which you can experience, right? So if you actually follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, what should be the result? It should give you some result, isn't it? Just like, let us consider the same case, the doctor and the patient. So Krishna is like a spiritual doctor and we are like patients, right? We have different problems in life and Krishna is telling the solution. So if you follow what Krishna is saying, we should get the result, isn't it? So what is the result Krishna is promising? We will experience higher truths. Pratyakshavagamam dharmyam. We'll become more uh, inner knowledgeable, right? Know about ourselves. That is called self-realization. And third thing, we become joyful, right? That is the result. By reading Bhagavad Gita, by following the process of Bhagavad Gita, we become happy, right? So these are the results of following the spiritual science, right? Now someone may say, yes, I am getting all these things. No, that is not only, okay, some people say, that if God exists, then he will make me pass in the exam. Do you think it is a right way of verifying about God? No, because the existence of God does not depend on your passing the exam, isn't it? God never said that I will pass you if I exist. No, not like that. But what is the result? The result is we'll get higher spiritual experiences, right? And now someone may say, yes, I'm getting those higher experiences. What is the proof that we can check? The proof is if someone is getting those higher experiences, higher happiness, then he will not crave for lower happiness, right? He can give up bad habits like smoking, drinking, and many other bad habits like anger, greed, lust. So if someone chants the name of God, prays to God, right, serves God, become devoted to God, he'll experience higher wisdom, higher knowledge, higher strength by which he can give up lower habits. And even if you think that you don't have these habits, but still as children you have some bad habits, isn't it? Sometimes we become greedy, just like these two children are fighting over a toy. You become envious of others' possessions, right? Like this boy is looking after this girl's ice cream, right? So if we become more close to God, what will be the result? Which is evident in us, which will be visible in us. The result will be we'll become more free from these lower things like selfishness, greed, like that, and we'll become more and more better human being, right? Just like in science, you have experiment to prove something. Similarly, in spirituality, because it is not dealing with matter, it is dealing with the inner, our inner self. So we experience all this thing in our own self, not in some laboratory, not with some other person. We experience it our own, right? And we can ourselves feel such things. Now, what is a blind faith in religion? That I'll tell you. Blind faith, they're like, there are many people like who say that, pay, pray, and obey, right? This is a slogan I have written here. Pay, pray, and obey. That means you come to us, give us a donation, right? You pray to God, which we tell you, and you obey what I say, right? Don't obey Bhagavad Gita, don't obey any other book, obey what I tell. So that kind of system of religion, which is made by man-made gods, that is actually blind faith, right? But if a system of religion follows some authentic books like Bhagavad Gita, right? If you see anything I tell you, I don't tell from what I know. I tell you from Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is not given by me, right? It is given by Krishna, and it is not written some few years back. It is written 5,000 years back, right? And it has never got changed. So when we speak from those eternal truths, then that is actually something which can be relied upon, right? So there are many people who say that, just come to us and follow us. You don't need to, so they will not allow their followers to read such books like Bhagavad Gita, or even if they read, they give their own interpretation, right? So Bhagavad Gita does not promote such kind of man-made God, right? Pay, pray, and obey, right? Rather, Bhagavad Gita says, analyze and realize. That means, as Krishna was telling, that you yourself analyze and then you realize that knowledge by practicing it. Analyze means first understand it completely, what it means, what it does, how, when, what, and then you practice it and then realize all those higher happiness, higher wisdom in your own self. So Bhagavad Gita calls for analyze and realize, not pay, pray, and obey. How much you understood this one? Difference between Bhagavad Gita as a scientific religion versus the so-called godmen who call for pay, pray, and obey, right? Yes. So Bhagavad Gita first of all gives us a philosophy. You understand that philosophy? get convinced about, yes, it makes sense, right? What Krishna says makes sense. Like Krishna tells about the knowledge of soul, and it makes sense, right? There are so many researches done on reincarnation, existence of God. So it makes sense. And second, we can also verify it in our own life by practicing that science. So we'll get higher realization, higher happiness, higher wisdom, right? So this is how, this is real faith in scientific, or you can say scientific faith in spirituality or God, right? Just like chanting the names of God. When I tell you to chant the names of God, I don't tell that, you chant, you'll get very good marks. I tell that if you chant, what will happen? You'll become more peaceful, because when we chant, we are connecting with God. How we connect with God? Just like you can call anyone on mobile phone, and it can connect to USA and many other countries. Similarly, God is present everywhere. When you call his names, he's present and he responds to you. So when we connect to God, where what happens? He's all pure, he's source of all happiness. So we also become purer and we experience the higher happiness. So it is all scientific. It is not that we have to follow blindly. And this is first aspect. It makes sense that yes, God is present everywhere, so I can call him and connect to him. And how I can verify it? Verification process is when you chant yourself, and you should feel, yes, I am feeling happier, I am feeling more peaceful in my mind. These things, if you get in your own experience, that means it is both intelligent, sensible, and verifiable. How many of you think that it makes sense? Okay. Yeah. So there are more discussions which I wanted to do. One was regarding, many questions. So we'll do that in a separate session in which you can ask many questions and I'll answer you back to back. Okay. So you can think about all the different questions that you have, and then we'll have another session maybe tomorrow and we'll discuss about that. Okay. So thank you all very much for joining today. Let us conclude the session by chanting 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we'll just chant once. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Thank you all very much for joining today. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir.
And wish you a happy vacation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.